It can be useful to have an E-goi account and then have more people working on it. To do that, you don't need to share your login data. You just need to create new users. And for that, you only need to go to this top right menu and then click Users. In this page, you are going to see all the users that you have linked to your account. As you can see, I have 2 here, and this one is the top level user. All the other ones will be the ones that you will be adding through the time. As you can see, we have a search bar here that we can use to look for a user. It can be useful in case you have a lot of users linked to your account. So let's click and we can do a filter. I'm going to look for the last name, and this is exactly the user that I'm looking for. And how can you have more users here? You only need to click Create User, then fill in all the data of them, first and last name, the contact number, the email for the login and the passwords, and then click Create User. Then that user will receive an email and he or she should confirm the email, and then they will have access to the account. We have some options for each user in this right bar. You can edit the user and then we can see all the information about them. We can edit it and promote them to top level user. We can change the password for them. We can see the action history of each user as well, and we can just delete it. Apart from this, we can define permissions for each user, and we have as well the option to define user control options. The difference is that here you are going to define permissions for a specific user, and here you are defining user control for all the users except the top level users. Let's have a look in the permissions area, and here you can define permissions for the features or for the data in the features. For example, I have the lists menu and I would like that this user has access to everything in my lists. But in campaigns, I don't want that user delete or send the campaigns. In this case, the users can create a campaign, and when they click send, they should wait for a validation that will be done for the top level menu or another user that has permissions for that. So I can define permissions for the Autobots, for the automations, for the reports, the forms, the tags, for my E-goi, which is all the information which is related with the settings of the account, and you can define permissions for the IPE. Also, we can set some definitions for the data, and for example, I gave access to everything in the lists, but I can define if it's to all the lists or just specify the lists that I want they see. For example, I only want that this one is visible for them, and I can select all the segments or specify just some of them. So I'm going to select these for here, and I can do this as well for the groups and the senders that I have in my accounts. Right, I'm going to save these configurations. And now I'm going to define some user access control. As we could see before, we just need to click this button here, and here we have all the possibilities. I can define, for example, if I want that the password is available for 90 days, for example, I'm going to save. I can define the format for new passwords and then keep stronger passwords for the account. We can log the login after some attempts, and we can decide how many hours it will stay locked. Also, we can define a time frame for login, right? So I can have one time here, or just edit it, or just cancel and delete and have free access anytime, right? But it's easy to define. And we have as well the possibility to define specific IP addresses for the login. And that's it. Now you know everything to have more people working in your account and keep it safe.